retiring in Roatan, Honduras, and how to make it successful. Well, first and foremost, you have to love the lifestyle that is the Caribbean beach island lifestyle that really moves on its own time, which that's a lot with what I just said. So we do get a lot of retirees down in Roatan. Well, all my neighbors I feel like are retired. I am not yet, but one day I shall be. So what's really nice about Roatan is well, affordability is always a tricky word because I don't think it means what it used to mean just a couple years ago. I might be aging myself, but affordability is difficult. However, the affordability relative to most large cities in the United States or Canada, Roatan is a lot more affordable, but it's not as affordable as it used to be. So lots of things there. I still find it very much worth it, but what makes it worth it for me, and what I always tell people that are thinking about moving here or retiring here, very similar mindsets on that, is you have to love the island lifestyle and prepared to live the island lifestyle that, well, it's island time, so things work a little bit different. Also to think about when you're retiring, well, a lot of that affordability also includes your home if you're going to rent or if you're going to buy. The average house in Roatan is between, well, it's right between 400 and 600,000. So now you can go less. You can get a nice island bungalow for around 200, 300,000, or you can go super swanky and get a beautiful condo or home in the $1 million+ range, because there's a lot of those with just breathtaking views, infinity pool that goes on for a very long time. So it really depends on what you are looking for. Another large expense that you're not going to have relative to North America is your healthcare. Healthcare is theoretically going to be a little bit cheaper. Now, Medicare is a whole nother animal, which we have another video on, and I'm speaking all from third-party information because I do not have access to that system yet. But for healthcare, for me personally, it went from, let's see, over $12,000 a year in the US to under $4,000. And that is for 4 individuals. Mostly me with my pre-existing conditions are half of the bill to cover those pre-existing conditions. So my children cost very little to insure, but just things to think about. Continuing with insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance, all of those are if you want them. So as a person that had their house burned down in Colorado, I'm a big fan of insurance. Insurance is a lot cheaper. You're looking at $200 to $300 for your car insurance for the year, around $1,000 to $2,000 for your insurance. Obviously, depending on what kind of a house you will have. If it is that island style bungalow, it's going to be much less than if you're a beautiful concrete house with that massive infinity pool on a cliff's edge with probably amazing views and breezes. So all of those things are going to be a lot different. But then what's nice is in Roatan, most of my money is spent on just disposable. A lot of it is disposable income, or it's not. My expenses are a bit lower, and a lot of it is just by choice. Like if I choose to have go out to eat, if I choose to go to San Pedro, if I choose to go to the Kimpton Hotel for a day. So a lot of those are discretionary expenses because your necessities are a little bit lower relative to the United States or to Canada. Well, Europe as well. So retiring here does make a lot of sense, and things can be cheap. If you want to go to the bar and have a $2 drink, you can do that. You can get a $1 baleada. They're delicious. Or you can go on the other end of the spectrum and eat lobster every day. And you're spending 50 to, hundreds of dollars on your delicious food, which we now have options from. So we have a really large spectrum on things that we can do. We didn't always used to have those ultra luxury items. Maybe ultra luxury is the wrong word, but they're definitely luxury items. But those are just discretionary. And so we do have a lot of play with our budgets here, which makes Roatan a good place to potentially retire. The private healthcare, I've talked a little bit about. I was actually diagnosed with 2 cancers here. The US said I didn't have enough symptoms to do the testing, and I was like, Down here, did it all for $800. I repeated everything at MD Anderson in Houston, Texas, and the bill came out to $27,000. So just some wildly different numbers there, and so things to think about when you are retiring. Residencies are fairly simple to get, assuming you are doing everything you are supposed to be doing, but they do take about a year to get, so something to think about if you are retiring. And they do have something called a retirement residency, and they basically take your social, where they can accept deposits into a Honduran bank account. It's going to vary depending on your situation. For me, at the time I had 3 dependents, and so I deposit $2,500 a month. If you do not have that many dependents, it's going to be much less, closer to $1,500, where they do accept Social Security. It doesn't really matter where it comes from, as long as it comes into the bank account. So lots of different residency options, so you can stay here long term. And then Medicare, I do know that there is a hospital that takes it, but I cannot really speak for, well, too much more for that. And what's nice here is also you get a lot of, well, your expenses are lower, so it gives you a lot of freedoms that you can do otherwise. You can travel through Central America, which is absolutely beautiful. There's so many wonderful places in Honduras, and I know I really only talk about Roatan because that's, well, where I live and that's where I sell property. We also have several other islands that you can visit. The mainland is wonderful, and you can turn that AC up because your power is lower. So little things like that are really nice, and gives you some, well, it's a little bit different from the hustle and bustle from a big city. It is island life, island culture. We are a tourism island, so you have to be prepared for tourists, because that's how the money for this island comes in, or that's where most of the money, most of the economy is based on tourism. So something else to think about if you are coming to Roatan, that there are going to be days where our 110,000 person population does inflate quite a bit, which is noticeable when we are such a small island. I believe we have over, you know what, I'm not going to throw a number out because I think I'm not 100% sure where a zero goes, so I don't know if it's 30,000 or 300,000 people but that come in a year, but I'm thinking it's closer to 300,000 because I know there's probably, yeah, it's over 300,000 because we can have an excess of 7,000 people that can bump our population by 7% in just a single day. So talk about those resources that we are definitely sharing. So something to think about, because there's going to be a lot of traffic. You're not going to be able to get to do some things on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Is that okay? I don't know, but you're retired, so any day. I go to West Bay Beach on Saturdays because that's what I like. So if you ever have any questions on retirement, I'd always suggest coming down here, spending about a month figuring out if it works for you, if the banking system works, if the healthcare works, if the housing situation works, if the food situation works, if the social aspect works, all of the things work for you, then I think it's wonderful. I do think a try before you buy is very good, even though I'm a realtor. Obviously, I want you to buy. I want you to buy a lot of real estate. I just think you should try before you buy. Stay about a month, figure out if this is the place for you, but it is an incredibly popular retirement community, which also means you have a big community. You have the local community, you have the expat immigrant community, and then you have the retired community from all over the world, but there are big groups of Americans, people from the United States as well as Canada. So lots of North American individuals that come down. So if you want to find something in common, it's also nice to branch out and meet people from all different cultures. However, I start to digress. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy your time and thinking about moving to Roatan, Honduras.